So now I'd like to introduce you to a little bit more of the story about Corliss. If you've been following me, you know that I've been taking a fictional girl and creating a story that is based on journals and readings from a certain time period and centering it around this girl and her stitching journey. And so I'm trying to tie in a little bit of the material culture and what was going on around people and this girl in particular at the time that her stitching would have been done, just to make it more interesting and fun. So here's Corliss, and she is the fictional springboard for introducing stitching and sewing in 1870. This year we're focusing on 1870. Through the story of her life, we're going to get approximate experience of what it might have been like to live during this time and look at how things were done, especially stitching. So let's meet Corliss. Corliss is 12 years old and she lives in 1870. Her name is of British origin and it means carefree, cheerful, and benevolent. And I think it suits her very well. Corliss lives in Kentucky and she lives with her father and her stepmother. Corliss had the unfortunate experience of losing 3 brothers and her mother during the Civil War, which was from 1861 to 1865. And her 3 brothers were in service. Her father and Corliss and her father survived. Her father is a hemp broker and a farmer. And he has remarried soon after his wife's death to a widow who lost her husband during the war. And we're going to learn more about them later. Corliss has a younger stepsister named Farabee, and we're going to talk more about her later as well. So educational opportunities have ended for Corliss in her town in Kentucky. And for a girl of her age, she's 12, and there are tensions in the home with the stepmother and stepsister situation. And her father, this has led her father to seek help from his sister-in-law. So Corliss's mother's sister. So this would be his former sister-in-law. Corliss's Aunt Edith. And she lives in Louisville. And often young girls of Corliss's age were sent to their relatives, especially in these kind of situations for various reasons. Her aunt is an accomplished needlewoman. Aunt Edith is just very skilled and faithfully attends a weekly church sewing circle and is a part of the Ladies' Aid Societies where articles of household textiles are made for charity work. And so Corliss is going to enter a world where she accompanies her aunt when making these social calls. And it's during these latter times that the ladies or the people involved in these events do their fancy work. And their fancy work is done using fancy work bags and baskets while visiting acquaintances in the neighborhood in the evenings and in the late afternoons. Now, Aunt Edith feels it's very important for Corliss to learn to be neat and tidy and to learn fine sewing, not just the patchwork, patching, and mending that she learned from Mama. So we're going to take an adventure with Corliss as she enters this new world at the tender age of 12. If you would like to read a blog that discusses a lot of these notions and methods that are used throughout the 19th century, I really highly recommend that you look at the blog I've mentioned before called 2 Threads Back. It's just beautifully produced, has gorgeous photos, it's delightful to read. Melissa does a beautiful job presenting it, and there are so many fun things to learn. And I have looked at that blog and gleaned so much from it, and I hope you will too. I'll link that below. Very much worth watching. So we're going to learn more about Corliss's stitching adventures and Farabee's down the road as we move on in this year.